Hello, and welcome to Your Vote Counts, a public informational, nonpartisan program designed to get the public acquainted with the candidates vying for the 2022 general election, the races of Congressional District 6, Senate Districts 10 and 11, House Districts 17 through 23, Salem City Council, and the Marion County Commissioners. These interviews come to you through the producers at Capital Community Media. Collaboration on questions and moderators are from the American Association of University Women, Salem City Club, and the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk counties. All 27 candidates for these races were invited, and all but 6 chose to participate. Candidates did not receive the questions prepared by the League of Women Voters ahead of time. Candidates were invited to prepare a 2-minute opening addressing their background and qualifications for the office, and a 2-minute closing addressing their goals for the office if elected. I am Joyce Zook from the American Association of University Women, and I would like to introduce Andrew Dennis, who is running for the Marion County Commissioner. Candidate Dennis, welcome, and we look forward to your opening remarks.
Thank you so much, Joyce, and I very much appreciate the opportunity to be in front of you all to speak and, of course, advocate for myself. I understand in this case that Marion County, or just in general, the term of commissioner may be something that a lot of individuals are not familiar with. And in this case, I chose to run for Marion County Commissioner because I would like to utilize my years of leadership, experience within both the private and public sectors to essentially be the momentum that I believe Marion County needs and the change that it needs moving forward. I've grown up here in the county, and in this case, I went to Auburn Elementary, I went to Houck Middle School, I graduated from North Salem High School. My family, in this case, has owned 2 businesses within Marion County for the better part of 30 years. Many of you may recognize me as the little boy who delivered a lot of your flowers door to door, or perhaps, again, helped deliver those smiles to you from our local flower shop. But over the course of the years in which I've grown up in Marion County, again, I've seen a lot of it change. And in this case, I wanted to dedicate myself to public stewardship and work for the state agencies that are here local within our county and hopefully create the change that I wanted to see. In this case, over the past few years, I have assisted in developing quite a few of the very very detrimental several state or federal programs for public assistance during the pandemic. In my most recent role as operations and policy analyst for the state of Oregon during the COVID-19 pandemic, I was tasked as being one of the few individuals that helped accommodate for the pandemic unemployment assistance program. And I was there in the trenches, in this case, trying to provide adequate payments to the many of individuals that were out of work, not only within our county, but also statewide. I proceeded to take that experience and, again, real life activity within the trenches to basically transition into my now current role with Oregon Housing and Community Services. Not only firsthand in the county, I witnessed everybody losing their jobs and, again, their livelihood, but I also saw the steady increase in housing instability and homelessness. I'm actively currently overseeing or helping administer a program that's related to COVID-19 assistance for homeowners who fell behind and are facing foreclosure. In this case, I would prefer to utilize my current experience as a state steward of resources, but also my previous degrees in economics, as well as sociology, and my current master's program from Oregon State University in public policy. I believe that these degrees and my personal experience and the better part of the last 10 years that I've dedicated to public stewardship, that I can continue to advocate for the changes we want to see within our counties. With those points in mind, I again humbly ask for your support as Marion County Commissioner, Position 1. And in this case, my promise to you is that I will continue to advocate for increasing affordable housing within our communities. I will do what I have done, which is collaborate
Candidate,
with local or
Candidate Dennis, in order for us to make room for the questions, I would hope that we can move along here. And I thank you for that
oh,
introduction. But we do
perfectly
want to
fine.
hear
I
your views.
apologize.
Yeah, we want to hear your views on the questions. And so the very first question is will relate to some of the things that you just mentioned. What issues do you think are unique to Marion County and which are especially you are concerned about?
So a few of the specific issues that I'm concerned about right now are supporting bond measures that help update some of our local schools within the area. A lot of individuals in Marion County do not understand that we have several school districts that try and collaborate with one another. And in this case, there's certain school districts and areas, such as Jervis, for example, that is needing drastic improvements. I also fully support us heading in the pro-environment policy direction. And there's currently some issues related to Covanta Marion and some of the uh, recent policy decisions or legislative development that they've made. And in this case, I think that's very important. I also believe in housing instability and homelessness crisis being something that we adequately need to address. In this case, continuing to bring jobs into our area that will help accommodate those that are experiencing joblessness. Just a few, and that would be, I guess, the ones I'd want to focus on first and foremost.
Okay. And the second question, a few years ago, there were changes made to the public health operations. And what does public health look like now in Marion County, and what else needs to be done?
So, public health, of course, is a very high important topic, especially considering the more recent pandemic, the current issues we're seeing in regards to things like monkeypox, or even the discussions related to future pandemics and being prepared. Personally, I would like to see the county take a lot more proactive measures versus reactionary. And I understand we didn't have the adequate means of ever predicting the pandemic in which we experienced, but there are real time situations or real time things that we can do to help. Of course, prepare for future situations. The other one is, of course, focusing on, in this case, health of children in the area, just because it's statistically proven that childhood health is very important for their ability to, of course, retain information. And we, at least I truly believe in investing in the future of our county. And in this case, their education would be first and foremost. So those would be the things public health wise that I'd ask for the county to continue to focus on. And budget wise, I believe trying to get the funds that have been allotted to us through grants or federal funding to be received by the actual organizations that assist us with those things in a more efficient manner.
Okay. 3, what changes have been put into place to ensure election integrity and ease of access? What do you want the public to know about elections?
I love this question because it's currently tying into my thesis of how the average person becomes a politician. I personally, going into this as a first time candidate, was not very aware of the process. Of course, you always hear that there's a large amount of funds that are needed in regards to making these efforts. I truly believe that we need to do a better job at advocating for local individuals to represent themselves or run for office, similar to myself. And in this case, I will say it was amazing to connect with the Secretary of State and utilize their resources more adequately. I do wish that things on a county level were more perhaps clarified in terms of deadlines related to specific things like ballots, or sorry, your pamphlet, voter pamphlet information, other things of that nature. A lot of people don't know that counties can have their own voter pamphlets, but states also have the voter pamphlet. And again, it just seems to be very chaotic. So I would love to see perhaps more infographics or things that explain that to the average person. So that way, if it's not myself that becomes an elected official, that somebody like myself in the future can become one.
Okay. Discuss public works plans for waste disposal and public education on waste reduction.
I love this topic as well because currently I do have an article on my website, changeformarion.com, that I would encourage individuals to read. It does express a little bit more of an in depth review of Covanta Marion, somebody that, for those that don't know, are contracted with our county to help dispose of the waste that we produce. In this case, producing energy for the power companies in the area. But something that I would like maybe the public to know is that those contracts and things of that nature are always up for discussion. We can continue to advocate for the belief that we shouldn't be charged for not producing enough waste. Because in this case, if we don't produce enough, their contracts with the power companies are not necessarily fulfilled, and that can be a negative repercussion on us as citizens within the county. So I would like to see, again, more productive options towards renewable energy. One of the things that they've been attempting to do as an organization at Covanta Marion is access renewable energy credits. And in this case, policy related to accessing some of the funds related to renewable energy sources. But in this case, I would love to see those credits and funds go to newer, let's say, buildings, or in this case, facilities that are more up to date. The other thing is I would love our county to take that pro-environment push to actually look into other methods of abatement and the things that we can do in the area.
Okay. How is the county implementing carbon emissions reduction?
Well, in our county, again, we have a very good access to timber as it goes out towards Detroit, Idana, and that area. So it's not to negate, of course, the benefit that we see from all of the trees that surround us in regards to helping with carbon. The other thing that I think has helped us, of course, during the pandemic is a lot of the area has gone to the option to remote work. Of course, the government was the largest employer in our county for a long time. Everybody would commute into the local offices. So with the reduction in travel and the increase in people actually working from home, that's helped. We also, again, have been trying to access the renewable energy credits, like I just mentioned in my previous question. So things of that nature would be something I would encourage the public to look into. Because, of course, we want to make sure those renewable energy credits and the funds that we receive related to that go to the entities that we want going forward.
Okay. What role does the county take in addressing houselessness in our community?
I believe the county commissioner's role is very, very important in, again, collaborating and activating the local organizations within the area. As a county commissioner, we are overseeing the budget in regards to where these funds go. Now, with respect to COVID-19, we received, in this case, just under $70 million for this for Marion County. And right now we see that some of those funds do go to, in this case, homelessness and housing instability, or at least the organizations in the county that help address that issue on a nonprofit level. So it is something that we are tasked with addressing. And in this case, part of our counties, more so the 20 cities rather than the 37 unincorporated parts, we see a lot more activity related to that. But that doesn't mean in this case that, that should be the main focus. The biggest benefit that I believe I present is that I currently work for Oregon Housing and Community Services. And in this case, activating the local organizations or basically going to the agency that helps task grants and dollars out to the community would be very easy for me to hopefully activate those network connections that I've built over the last few years.
Well, you mentioned grants there. And so the next question is what grants or other revenue options are available to the county to address infrastructure needs? And what needs are your priorities?
So a lot of individuals do not know that there is a plethora or a large amount of grant funds, whether they come from a federal level or a state level. In this case, they're trickled out to us here in the county and or organizations within the county, be it private or public, that are able to access it. So a lot of times people hear grant funds and they think, oh, nonprofit. And I think the common misconception, or the thing I'd love for the public to change, is that the average person, such as yourself or me, could access these. Now, in regards to infrastructure, there was a lot provided during COVID-19 that we're still adequately working through. Again, everybody can look at the current status of expended versus obligated funds for the county, and what has gone out. But something I do want to mention, though, is with grants, once given money, it can be taken back. And something that we need to highlight is the importance of our current county commissioners. They are, again, in charge of the budget, and they're advocating for us to obtain these grants. And something that a lot of individuals don't know is that due to mismanagement, these funds can be taken back. And it is my understanding that we have, in the recent Marion County, experienced a loss of some of the grant monies that were previously awarded to us because of mismanagement or because it wasn't appropriated in a more efficient manner. So that is something that, again, I would love to focus on regarding infrastructure grants, or regarding, let's say, public health grants. Anything that is accessible and money on the table should be something that our county is actively, taking advantage of.
Okay. What is your experience in working with diverse groups? How would you bring a broader base policy process into county planning and decision making?
I again appreciate this question, because as a steward of public resources and a member of a state agency, I've always been taught to just treat everybody as an Oregonian. This is where you are. This is basically your circumstance, regardless of your intersectionality or your gender, race, ethnicity, all those demographics that make you unique. In this case, need to be honored, they need to be respected, and they need to be included. I currently work with our agency as part of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council, and I will continue to, again, treat everybody like the Oregonian, or in this case, somebody from Marion County, regardless of their background or where they come from.
Well, you'll have about 30 seconds to respond to the very last question, which is, what does the Office of County Commissioner mean to you?
For me, this is the individual that is, again, overseeing a budget, but making sure that that budget goes to plan. It's not just putting the idea out into the air or into the ether. It's actually following through with collaborating with local agencies and organizations, holding them accountable to what you're providing them fund-wise, because our constituents, or the people who reside in Marion County, rely on those budgets to be accurate, and in this case, to be followed through, to a T. So I would like to see that going forward, and that's what I promise as county commissioner.
Thank you very much for answering the questions. And candidate Andrew Dennis, you're now invited to share your 2-minute closing comments about your goals for this office if elected.
So one thing I like to mention is that oftentimes the feedback that I get is the same questions that you asked today, Joyce, which is, what am I going to do in regards to, homelessness? How am I going to provide more affordable housing? How am I going to work on the infrastructure? And I truly believe those are valid questions that the public should have, because I myself have them. But just as valid, I'd ask that the public consider the question of how we got here. And in this case, our current commissioners, and the one that I am running against, has been in elected office for the last 4 years and was, of course, appointed in the term before that. And I respect the individual. I grew up in the county knowing him and going to a similar church. And in this case, I would love to see the change in Marion County, because, again, how did we get here? I believe in looking at our past and utilizing the data that's available to make data-driven decisions that can actually create solutions for the future. Right now, I also get the feedback that I may be young. And in this case, I've devoted, again, over the last 10 years, 5 of which being with the state and various agencies, to help implement policy, develop programs that the public has relied upon. And in this case, I've distributed with those programs well over millions of dollars. I currently oversee a $90 million budget, and I help a team administer that on a state level. When asked what I want to do most, I want to focus now locally on the community I've watched around me change over the years. And I want to help my mother and father continue to stay in business, or my nieces and nephews have a great school future. And I'd love for myself to continue to settle down as a resource parent or foster parent here in the area. Again, Marion County needs a change and they need momentum. And I'm asking for your support in doing that and electing me as Marion County Commissioner, Position 1.
Thank you, candidate Andrew Dennis, for your interview today and for sharing your thoughts with us. And thanks to Capital Community Media for their extensive technology and producer skills used to create this program. Thank you also to the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties for the design and preparation of the program, and to AAUW Salem City Club for the help with question development and providing moderators. And thanks to you, the public, for watching in order to become a more informed voter. For more local, state, and national voter information on candidates and ballot issues, visit all capital letters BOTE411.org. You have until October 18th to register to vote or make changes. Ballots go out October 19th and 20th, and according to a new law, will be accepted and counted if postmarked before or on November 8th. Elections matter. Remember to vote because your vote counts.